So the crypto world is in this, well, really fascinating but kind of turbulent moment right now. It's making a big move, from the fringes right into the center of everything. It's trying to shed its wild past, but that past is also shaping what it's becoming. It's basically an industry growing up in public, and believe me, the growing pains are very, very real. So is crypto actually ready for its close-up? Let's get into it. And this quote from MoonPay president Keith Grossman, it really sets the stage for everything we're going to talk about. He's talking about this new partnership with the X Games, but the idea here is so much bigger. Think about it. Crypto, just like action sports, was born as a counterculture, and now these two rebellious movements are colliding in the mainstream. And honestly, that could be a total game changer for both of them. All right, so here's what we've got on deck. We're going to start with crypto's big play for the mainstream. Then we'll look at how it's trying to build a more, traditional financial future. After that, we dive into the big challenges, the regulatory tug-of-war in Washington, the scandals that just won't go away, and that constant threat of digital thieves. Okay, let's kick things off with Section 1, crypto's new mainstream move. This is where crypto's making a really bold play to win over hearts and minds, not just wallets, by teaming up with one of the biggest names in action sports. Now, what's so wild about this is just the sheer ambition. This isn't just slapping a logo on a banner, oh no. MoonPay, a huge player in crypto, signed a multi-year deal to be the title sponsor for a brand new X Games league. This is the first time in the history of the X Games that they've ever had a league title partner. They're even paying athletes like snowboarding legend Mark McMorris his prize money in crypto. The goal here is crystal clear. Tap into that massive, young X Games audience and pull crypto out of its niche and right into the mainstream. And get this, it's not a one-and-done thing. We're talking about a full-on, year-round global league. The athlete drafts in LA, the first competitions in Sacramento, and they're setting up teams in major hubs all over the world, from New York and LA to Sao Paulo and Tokyo. This shows a real long-term plan to weave crypto into global sports culture, which could bring in a whole new generation of users. Okay, so the X Games partnership is a massive play for cultural street cred, right? But crypto is also working super hard to build a more stable and, frankly, mature financial future. In Section 2, we're going to see how the industry is creating products that look and feel way more familiar to traditional investors. A huge piece of this growing up puzzle is the race to launch ETFs, exchange-traded funds. For folks who are totally comfortable with the stock market, but kind of sketched out by crypto exchanges, ETFs are a familiar and, crucially, a regulated way to get in on the action. This is a huge deal because it opens up crypto to a whole new class of investors, which could mean a massive flood of cash into the market. And man, things are moving fast. We've seen 21 shares launch a spot Dogecoin ETF right on the NASDAQ. Grayscale turned its own Dogecoin trust into an ETF. And then you've got Bitwise getting all creative, launching an actively managed fund that actually pairs Bitcoin with gold. So this isn't just one or two companies testing the waters. It's a full-blown industry push for legitimacy, and it's all happening right now. Okay, so the industry is building and expanding, firing on all cylinders, right? But it's not happening in a vacuum. In Section 3, we're diving into the high-stakes battle that could literally make or break crypto's future, the fight for clear rules of the road in Washington. So it all comes down to this one crucial question. Who gets to regulate crypto? Is it a security, like a stock? That would put it under the SEC's control, which could mean some really heavy-handed rules. Or is it a commodity, like gold or oil? That would put it under the CFTC, which might mean a more hands-off approach. Each agency has its champions in the Senate, and both are working on different bills. Seriously, how this question gets answered will define the entire U.S. crypto market for decades. The stakes could not be higher. But, it's not all doom and gloom on the regulation front. There is a glimmer of hope. Senator Kirsten Gillibrand, who's been right in the middle of these talks, says she's actually optimistic. She points out that senators from both parties have been working together really intensely on this. Look, it's a super complex issue, and there's no guarantee it'll get solved overnight. But it does seem like there's a real effort to create a workable framework instead of just letting the chaos continue. Okay, so while crypto's trying to sort out its future in Washington, it's got this other problem. It's being haunted by the ghosts of its past. In Section 4, we're going to get into the scandals and the old baggage that are threatening to completely derail crypto's journey to the mainstream. $2 billion. Just let that sink in for a second. That is a massive number, and it's right at the heart of a huge controversy involving the former head of Binance, the world's biggest crypto exchange, and a presidential pardon. So let's break down what's being reported. The founder of Binance, Changpeng Zhao, everyone calls him CZ, got a pardon from President Trump after he served time for money laundering. That pardon immediately came under fire because of a $2 billion investment that was made into Binance, and it was made using USD1, which is a stablecoin from the Trump family's crypto business. The timing, the connections, it all immediately raised a lot of public questions about whether there was some kind of backroom deal. And that is a huge problem for the industry because it just reinforces that old image of crypto being a lawless, shady space. Now, to be fair, CZ himself has come out and flatly denied any of it. He says the investment was just a standard business deal, and the investor just happened to use the USD1 stablecoin. He's on the record saying that, as far as he knows, no deal for a pardon ever existed. But a lot of people are still skeptical, and the whole thing continues to cast a really dark shadow over the industry. That whole CZ mess is a pretty stark reminder of the risks that come with a new and, let's face it, not fully regulated industry. But there's another threat, one that's maybe even more insidious, that's always looming over the crypto world. In our final section, we're going to explore this persistent digital threat that just keeps undermining trust in the whole ecosystem. And we're not talking about some kid in a basement here. The primary villain in this story is often the Lazarus Group, a super sophisticated state-sponsored hacking collective out of North Korea. These guys are responsible for stealing billions from the crypto industry, and they operate with the resources of an entire country, which makes them an incredibly dangerous opponent. And their methods are just so cunning, it's wild. In a recent campaign, they started by pretending to be recruiters on LinkedIn. Then they'd conduct fake job interviews over Google Meet. And then they'd send developers a take-home assignment through GitHub. But that assignment was a Trojan horse. It had hidden malware designed to expose crypto wallets, private keys, your entire system. That means with just a couple of clicks, they could steal everything you own in the crypto world. But here's the good news. This isn't a one-sided beatdown. The industry is actively fighting back. In this specific case, a blockchain security firm called Fireblocks was able to spot the fake profiles, grab the digital fingerprints of the malware, and work directly with LinkedIn and law enforcement to get the hackers' whole operation shut down. It was a huge win, but the war against these hackers is far from over. So when you take a step back and look at the whole picture, you see this industry at a massive crossroads. On one path, you've got the promise of this bright mainstream future, right? With X Games partnerships, regulated ETFs, and a serious effort in Washington to create clear laws. But on the other path, there's that dark, chaotic past, with lingering scandals, public suspicion, and a relentless war with some of the world's best cybercriminals. Which brings us to our final question. The industry is basically trying to do two impossible things at once: build this clean, regulated mainstream future, while at the exact same time fighting off the ghosts of its chaotic Wild West past. So can crypto actually escape its own shadow, or will it be forever defined by its dark and troubled beginnings? Well, that remains the multi-trillion-dollar question. Thanks for watching.